and welcome to Rue's Life and welcome to July's plot tour. We have had some scorching days here and it's another belter today, which is lovely but super hot in the polytunnel and a little bit too hot to be doing anything. But what I can do is show you around. I have been working really hard on the plot since you saw the June update or tour, and one of the things I've been doing is getting these bark pathways, and I've almost finished. So if we just have a little dander, you can see we've now got pathways right the way up the side of the polytunnel. And all this area that used to be grass, and you can see where I've put the fresh chip. There's a bit of a line where the old path used to end. I've removed some of the edging log roll from here, and I've also put some here. So what needs to be done now will be down the side of this bed. And then where I'm standing at the moment, you can see, whoops, sorry, a bit quick there, we've still got grass here. So I have still got quite a lot of wood chip, bark chip left, so I could just bark this area, and I might just do that for now, but the long-term plan is to have some kind of a decking or patio area just here. But for now, this is great. It means a lot less strimming. It also means that the slugs are less likely, because they don't like to come across this, to want to go to the plot. And the long-term plan is that up the other end, where you can see the raspberries there, that area will also be barked on the other side of the polytunnel. And the great advantage to eventually having bark all the way around the polytunnel is every time we have to strim, it is such a worry that we might accidentally nick the polytunnel. So not having to strim close to the poly is a great advantage. You can see here, if you haven't watched my channel before, if you might be new, or if you just missed the videos where I've showed it, this is the solar powered fan which I use to help to cool the polytunnel when it's really hot. It wasn't particularly expensive and it's really effective. And I also douse the floor, which is a weed suppressant membrane, with water in front of that fan, which also helps to cool. So let's start with the flower bed. And you will have seen by now the video where I went and got some mature perennials to pop in, and they're doing really well. And in that video I was having some awful microphone problems, so you will have missed what the plants I bought actually are, so I can talk you through those now. So to start with, we've just got this beautiful self-seeded purpley red poppy, which I've left in this pot, but I may use some of those seeds into this bed because they're just delightful. And then we've got the scabious here, so that's one of the new plants, and it's looking reasonable. They've all sort of suffered a little bit because I've put them in at the hottest time of year, but I'm watering them regularly and they're doing okay. And then here we've got the Rudbeckia, and you can see it's starting to produce flowers, and that's going to burst into colour soon. The alliums are still bobbing their little heads around. They haven't been brilliant, but they've been quite pretty, and as I say, I'm hoping for them to be more established and improve over the years. The lavender that I'd kept in the polytunnel for far too long, I think it was 2 years in a pot, isn't looking great, but it's hanging on in there, and I'm hoping again that it's going to improve. So let's move around a little bit. So here we've got the Coreopsis, which is one of the new plants. And next to that we've got some of the Livingston Daisy, which I grew from seed, and they're flowering and looking really pretty, and they're going to hopefully spread out. The Cosmos is really looking healthy, and I can't wait for that to burst into colour. Then we've got some of my good old Californian poppies, Moving along again, some more of the Livingston Daisy. And then here we've got Leucanthemum, which again is one of the new plants. Next to that, another Livingston Daisy. And then next to that is this yellow variety of Krakosmia. So I've always known the rich orange Krakosmia. I thought that would be quite nice. I've got lovely childhood memories of Krakosmia. My granddad used to come and visit us when we lived in Scotland, and he used to hide little chocolate bars, and we used to call it the chocolate plant. So yeah, Krakosmia is a firm favourite of mine. Then we've got just a complete riot of oranges and yellows. So we've got Californian poppy here, and then the calendula. And then we'll just, actually while we're here, I'll just drop the camera down a little again. There's these two penstemons, so there was the purpley variety and the white variety, and they were flowering and they've looked great, but again, you know, a bit of a shock moving them, and then it's been quite hot and dry, but they're looking nice and healthy, and I'm hoping, you know, that they are going to continue, and next year they're going to look even better. And then just in this little gap here, these are baby lupins, which I've grown from seed, and from a whole tray, I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4 remaining, so I'm quite pleased, and they're not the easiest to keep the slugs off, and I'm hoping that they're going to be great when they're more mature over the years. And then we'll move around. So on the other side of the bed now, here is the cranespill, which was pink, and that's flowered. More, they're just delightful, aren't they, of the Californian poppies. And then I've got two, if I just move again, of these lovely sunflowers, but they're a shorter variety, which is great, because I was worried that if they were the big tall sunflowers, you know, I'd have to start staking them, but you can see they're starting to get ready to flower, and they're just going to look amazing. So I'm hoping to save some of the seeds from those so I can put some more in again next year. And you can imagine, you know, the long-term plan is that we won't be able to see the soil here, and we're just going to have nothing but flowers, and to have these big fat sunflower heads smiling out of the other flowers, I'm really hoping that's something I can achieve. Then we've got some of the snapdragons that I grew from seed, and again I think it's going to be next year before they put on a show. We have got some cornflower here, and they're starting to come again. They were grown from seed. The Sweet William that I grew from seed, they're settling themselves down quite nicely. I think these are actually weeds. They're near to a label that says snapdragon, but they definitely don't look like snapdragons to me. So I think that's a sorrel or something that's going to have to come up. But overall, I'm really pleased with the way this is establishing. Here we are at the squash bed, and you can see that the squash are starting to develop. There's nothing actually climbing up the frame yet, but it's early days, and as soon as they start to, you know, want to spread themselves out, that's when I start to encourage them up the frame, all apart from the ones in the middle, which I'm going to grow down the middle, and those are the big variety of sort of pumpkin rather than squash, which I'm hoping to have at least 2 for carving. And then moving along to the beds in the middle here, so we'll start with the brassica bed. So the sprouts are looking really healthy. We've got lots of foliage, no little sprouts yet. Hidden next to those, we've got some curly kale, and that's looking really healthy. I haven't actually eaten any of it yet, but it's really coming. Then we've got some purple sprouting broccoli, which again is looking really healthy, and we're starting to get some little broccoli florets on that, and they're ready for picking, and I'm looking forward to eating those. I've been away over the weekend, and I've also had a busy couple of weeks, so there are a few weeds. There's a absolutely cracking thistle. I don't know if you can see it just here. The cauliflowers, I've had maybe 6 or 7 now harvested from here. I don't think we're going to get much more of those. There's a couple that have blown, and yeah, the remnants of what I should have done is I've cut the cauliflowers out, but I really should have lifted the foliage and pop that on the compost heap, just to limit the you know, that when they drop onto the ground like that, you're more likely to attract the slugs. You can see these little ones have blown and bolted, so I'll pull those up. The cabbage, I'm really looking forward to getting some of these harvested. They're looking great. There were greyhound and, oh, I can't remember the other variety, but you can see the different varieties here, and I'm really looking forward. Never grown cabbage before, so really looking forward to trying those. And this is the bed that had the onions in, and look at this absolute delight. So my plan actually was that I was going to pull a lot of these out, but they just look beautiful, and I didn't particularly need the space after the onions came out. I kind of thought I did, but everything going on, I've got other things in other beds, so I decided I would leave this because it just looks so beautiful. I have pulled up the celery now. That had just got too big and too tough. I've taken the best of it, and that's chopped and frozen. And then onto this bed. Again, there are a few weeds. So in here we've got some self-seeded calendula and some self-seeded Californian poppies and a big weed. I did sow some beetroot, and some of that's looking reasonable. We've got a big patch there where I'd sown some lettuce, and they just I beg your pardon, some carrots, and they just didn't germinate. I'm not having great success with my carrots this year, and I will show you the ones in the polytunnel in a moment. So yeah, carrots just not doing great this year for one reason or another, either not germinating or being munched. And then moving along, oh, big wagon. These are beetroot and a Californian poppy, and more Californian poppies. The beetroot, that I again direct sowed them into this bed, and they're looking great. And then we've got some turnip, and I think the variety is Snowball. Yes, I've just looked at the label, and they're looking really good. Some of those will be ready to pull soon. And then the chives at the end here looking great. And then the last bed is the fruit bed. So we've got the raspberries, and they're starting to come into fruit. So they're an autumn fruiting variety, but some of them are starting to show fruit. So kind of late summer, and we're in midsummer, but I was led to believe they were an autumn fruiter. So I don't know much about raspberries. Drop me a comment below. What is the difference between a summer fruiter and an autumn fruiter? If these are fruiting now in July and I've only just started to do so, does that make them a summer fruiter? I would have thought so. When do summer fruiters fruit? What months? And when do autumn fruiters fruit? Because I was, as I say, I was led to believe this was an autumn fruiter, so to me it would have been more, you know, late August, September time. As I say, don't know much about raspberries, so share with me what you know. And then the strawberry bed has just been amazing and continues to produce the most delicious strawberries, which I can't get enough of, and I have been sharing a lot as well. And then the rhubarb on the end here. We've had lots of pickings from that. It really doesn't like this hot, dry weather, but it's hanging on in there. And then we've still got these 3 lovely new compost bays. So let's hop into the polytunnel. So the first thing I want to show you are my onions. So I did do a video when I harvested these, but this is them now curing, and they're pretty much ready to start using, processing, so chopping and freezing, and some I will plat. And we've got lots in here, and look at them, they just look gorgeous. So they've got these lovely papery skins now, and there's some lovely sizes. Some of them are really quite big. I could have left some in the ground for a bit longer. Let's say I've got around about 200 onions there. I'm really happy, and if I just pop you underneath, you can see they're drying out beautifully. And there are a couple that have tried to bolt, like this one, so that's a definite one for the freezer rather than trying to store as they are. And while we're on the staging, let's just have a little look at what we've got. So I've got some baby kale, which really does need to go into a bed. These are my next lots of peas, I've got 2 little pots of those, and they're rondo for my successional sowing, and I do need to put them into the pea tub, and I'll show you the other peas. They've been doing great, and we've been harvesting those and enjoying them. This is my next sowing of chard, and it's the Swiss chard bright lights, those lovely rainbow colours, and that's looking great. These lupins, I'm losing them a little bit. I need to pot them on. These are really, really special to me because they were seeds from my lovely mum-in-law who we lost this year, and they were in her belongings, and they were seeds that she'd saved from her garden. So this is all of them. I really need these lupins to survive, so I must pot them on and treat them a little bit more kindly. But I'm really pleased with them. And then we've got the leek seedlings, which I've been threatening to move. I really must move them. The celeriac there, it's not doing great. I should have moved it a long time ago, and I think a combination of being in that pot for too long and the heat, and you can see it's kind of keeled over. The lupins here that I've sown from seed are doing really, really well. I need to pot those on as well, and then eventually get them out into the flower bed. And then here we've got some little lettuce seedlings which I need to move, and this I think is purple sprouting broccoli, and it's just in the little sheep looking ornamental. What I need to do again is actually move it, put it outside. Is there a label on it? Oh no, it's their cabbage golden acre. They're not going to do. They've been sitting in that pot far too long, but they look pretty in the sheep. In this little hanging basket there were some thyme seeds, and they haven't actually germinated, but we'll do the other baskets while we're at it. So over this side, the rocket's looking great. This was a herb mix. I don't really know what they are, but it looks pretty, and I'm letting them go to flower. I don't know what they are. I haven't used them for culinary purposes, but they filled a basket and they look pretty. They were collection that I've put in these hanging baskets of various sort of salads and herbs. The rocket's great. You can just pick little bits of that off. This is an Italian leaf mix, which has been doing okay, but now isn't really liking the heat. And of course, with a hanging basket, they dry out a little bit too quickly, especially here in the polytunnel, but it's been good. And then while we're doing baskets, the basil is loving being in this hanging basket, coming along, and I wish you had smell-o-vision because, oh, that smells delightful. The chives never germinated. I have never had much luck growing chives from seed. So back down to this bed. So just down here in the little bed is more basil, and that's doing really well. We've then got the Belotti beans, which you can see are now looking good, working their way up the arch. My carrots have just been rubbish this year. I have harvested a few and I've had a couple of decent ones, but something is eating them. So if I just pull one up, I can show you. Yeah, oh, that's one of the little globe ones, but something's nibbled the top. But my proper, what I call proper carrots, are actually coming up. I'm going to pull one. It'll probably be perfect now. That's not a bad one actually. So I've had a few like that, but some have actually been eaten from the root up, and I'm suspecting carrot root fly. But I have grown carrots in this bed every year now for years, so I'll give it a rest and grow them in a different bed next time. Then here we've got the Madeira Maroon beans, which again are looking lovely and healthy and working their way up. Then behind those you can just see we've got some Mizuna. There's another salad at the back, and there's a little bit of germination. I can't remember which one it is, but another salad type. Might be corn salad. Yes, it is. And then we've got some lamb's lettuce. Oh no, this is the corn salad. Lamb's lettuce corn salad here. Can't remember what the other one is. And slow but coming. These delightful little sunflowers. That one's really cheery, all sown at the same time. These two are coming a bit slower, but that's quite nice because they're kind of naturally coming in succession. Then here we've got some perpetual spinach, which is looking lovely and tastes delicious. And then this is the original chard, which is not looking so great now, it's bolting. So what I need to do is pull that up, take what we can to eat, give the tops to the chickens, and then plant into that bed the seedlings that I've just shown you on the staging there. And then we've got the parsnips, which are looking great. Next to the parsnips, I've got 2 rows of lettuce, and it's the romaine ballon lettuce, which is lovely for eating, but the chickens particularly like it. I like to hang them on strings for them. So they're germinating, a little bit higgledy-piggledy, but they're coming. And then these are my Greek Gigantes beans, which, oh my goodness, these are the cream of the crop. Well, I'm hoping they will be when they harvest, but so far, so good. Look at them, amazing. And look at all those flowers. These ones got off to a flying start. The other beans have been a little slower. Then I've got peas here, which have been great. You can see there's still a few to pick, and then I'm going to put in those pea seedlings that I showed you into there and let those start to come. The leek seedlings that are in this pot are looking good, and I could probably put those into an outside bed now to let them establish further. And then in this bed we've got the dwarf bean, and the variety is Rondo, and some of them are already producing little beans. See if I can show you. Look at those. So they're coming. And then we've got one of the skunk bean, which is trying really hard. It's not very good at climbing. I might have to give it some help because it keeps sliding back down the pole. And then I just popped, because the other beans that were here didn't do so well, so I direct sowed some bolotto, and you can see that they are indeed coming. Then we've got, next to the plinky plonky wind chime, a geranium in a basket. In this bed, dun, 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 very exciting, are my melons. And do you know what? They're coming. They are starting to mature, and there's signs in them that they might just produce me some melons. So I'm keeping everything crossed. One, as you can see, I've lost, but out of 10, we've only lost 1 so far. So keep crossing your fingers and praying for my little watermelons. And then on this side of the polytunnel, I've got a selection of courgettes, which this year are in pots, and I have moved them now to give them some more space. And as you can see, they're looking really healthy and starting to produce some little courgettes. And then here we've got my cucumbers. There's a couple of varieties in there, and they're really starting to come. Then I've got my tomatoes. The variety is Moneymaker. They're looking really healthy, and you can see I've already got some little tomatoes starting to form. Great excitement. And finally, these are 1, 2, 3, 4 chili pepper de cayenne, and they're looking really healthy. No signs of any flowers or chilies yet, but fingers crossed. So all in all, I'm really, really pleased with how things are coming along. So it's super hot in here, just the time it's taken for me to show you around, and I am absolutely drenched. It's dripping off the end of my nose. So it's actually 44 degrees in here. It's really hot. So I'm going to douse the floor and make sure I've moved the solar panel so that the fan is going, just to help protect these plants, particularly things like the tomatoes. They don't like it too hot. And I'm going to get myself a shower and a cold drink. So I really hope you've enjoyed this month's tour. It's just, you know, I'm loving it. I'm loving this time of year. It's not that long ago we were looking at, you know, just bare earth, and now we've got this lush greenness and the promise of all the wonderful harvests to come. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new to my channel, please do consider subscribing and hit that bell so you get notifications of all my latest videos. There'll be a video coming up around about now, which you may also enjoy. But for now, take care and I'll see you all again soon.